no political questions. We don't talk about politics or economics or anything, please. And
well, it's not real anyway.
yeah, it's mithya, you know.
It's mithya.
So let's begin then. So there are 6 of us.
Yeah, Karen will not be joining us. She has an appointment this morning.
Om Sadashiva Samarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparamo. Om Shanti 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 Om. Okay, let's begin. Let's hear what Dave has.
Well, it really, literally like 24 minutes into the discussion, the video today from Tuesday, you know, a statement was made which I kind of starred, which is language can't escape dualism. So I just kind of, it's a lot to reflect upon, but language cannot escape dualism. The fact that we're talking is going to manifest dualism. And then you mentioned that, like Ramji would talk about it, is it's best if we have like a knowledge-based language. So my question is then what is a knowledge-based language? When you think about it from a knowledge-based language, what is that? And then can it only be used between jivas who have been exposed to this knowledge of Vedanta? Yeah. And or this means to knowledge that's called Vedanta. So it becomes very specific in terms of the language, and then, you know, so is it only for those people who've been exposed to it? And you know, I almost like I want a sign for something. Now, when I see Lynn, I know that I'm going to be. She's going to. I know that she knows the language. All right. Right. But I'm almost for a sign or something that I can kind of quickly find out if you know, when I talk this language, am I being heard correctly? And so that kind of gets into this as well too, is if I'm using this knowledge language, if you will, you know, how do I know that I'm being heard correctly and interpreted the same way, especially if it's somebody outside of this group? So there's a lot of questions in there, but it really, yeah. I mean, I love the concept of having that language is dualism. Yeah. And the mere fact that we're talking and being and living here, that we're just in dualism. Yeah. And in that, I understand that there's going to be ambiguity, and there's going to, you know, there's all sorts of things that is going to break it down. So any thoughts about, or, you know? Yeah,
it's a very, very nice inquiry, Dave, and worth looking into it, because language itself, it's to describe, understand, and describe the relationships between and the mind that experience and know objects, you know, and there is this dualism, and then there are a diversity or varieties of objects. You know, we describe objects always in reference to how different it is to the next one or to that other one. So everything is within plurality and dualism and diversity. It's mithya. The language is designed for mithya, and it's all about duality or diversity of names, colors, and forms, and properties and attributes. So the difficulty we have when we come to self-inquiry and self-knowledge is that as we have understood, this knowledge is more easily gained and retained when it's conveyed by the means of words. So we have those teachers that say, no, it's anything we say is going to be misleading. Let's convey this knowledge by the means of silence. But it does not seem to help much, except to produce more and more people with silent minds. But silent mind does not really address the fundamental problem, which is the ignorance that sits below the silent mind, which is not really addressed by the silent mind. You understand? So we need language. Even Ramana Maharaj, Raji recently did a seminar on Ramana, and he was trying to bring up Ramana's words towards the end of his life after he has read the Upanishads and the scriptures. And then he wrote the truth. The truth here, everything he wrote, those verses, they were just in total conformity or harmony with the Upanishads, you know. And that is the ultimate truth that he did not really teach, but he wrote it towards the end, okay? So he was mostly silent, okay? And he was giving some small instructions here and there whenever he would say something to people according to their stage or level of understanding. So Ramana, to use his own example, many times he used language to say, yes, take this mantra and do this and this and this. To some others, they will say, so do this and this meditation, or take care of your family and find a job. So his language was mostly conveyed according to the situation of the people on the other side. And it was all dualistic and implying action and result of action. This language that we use, it's all about doing things. Can you see how much verbs we use in communication? Verbs are words that denotes action. You understand? It's something that is being done. Okay, and it's all about action and results of actions. It's mostly about doing things to get a result, an effect, cause and effect. It's all in duality, the entire language we use. So what is our problem? When we come to the Upanishads, we need to convey the non-dual nature of the I, of the self, which is the goal of the inquirer, to find my nature is one without a second, that which resolves, the whole conflict of living in duality. The living in duality is reality, understand? And I, myself, and the objects, and I need to achieve, gain, and control and retain the objects according to my likes and dislikes. So this is the problematic of every human jiva. So we come with Vedanta, and Vedanta presents the language that has, to the best of one's ability, avoid these connotations of actions and results of actions. Why we need to avoid these words? Why we want to avoid any sense, any connotation that implies in doing things to gain freedom, Why? Just when we really come to the very end of the Vedas, the Upanishads, So all of these statements in the end, they are not about yoga. They are not about doing things to gain something else. It's not about karma yoga or upasana yoga, doing some action, some sadhana to gain a more pure and focused mind and so on, a pure heart. So it's none of that. So the language of Vedanta, Dave, is a language based on knowledge. And it's based on knowledge, not a contemplation and understanding, not based on action, on doing something. You understand? It's a language based on contemplating and understanding what the Upanishads are saying. So this knowledge, contemplation, understanding based language has the purpose to reveal to individual his or her real identity. You understand? So therefore, we say that we need to try to the best of our abilities to avoid the action experience, action, results. The results of action is always an experience. We need to avoid that language when we come into the Upanishads, and we need to shift to the language based on contemplation, knowledge, and true identity as the non-dual I, the non-dual self. You understand? So every action requires two, one thing and another thing, so that one can try to connect. Yoga is connecting one aspect to another aspect, one fact to another fact. I, the jiva, want to connect with my true nature, with Brahman, with consciousness. You understand? And the Upanishads, they come with this declaration that says that the jiva is already Brahman. The jiva is already consciousness. No? So how are we going to convey all of this unfoldment, these expositions of these Upanishad declarations in language? We need to try to the best of our ability to avoid any meaning, any implied meaning that suggests action and results of action. Results that you can do something as consciousness, because consciousness is a karta. So let's take the example of the teaching on existence, that it is properly covered by Panchadas. So Panchadas presents Sat Chit. Sat is the isness of existence. Is the existence, is the isness of everything that is in the universe. You understand? The fundamental existence, isness of everything. So that is Sat, and Chit is consciousness. Now, when we use language, so we say that the house, the apartment of Dave exists or is, and on the street is so and so. So what does kind of language, suggest? Suggests that your apartment there, Dave, has an isness or existence of its own, as if the apartment would be doing, something as existing. I exist, you exist, she exists, we exist, they exist. So these verbs are words that imply in this context that existence is doing something. You understand? So the teaching on the Panchadas, it points out the fact that existence being the other side of the same coin, known Sat-Chit, existence consciousness, Existence is not a byproduct of any object. It's not that the objects possess existence. There is only existence, and existence does not do anything. Existence does not do anything, and the objects do not enjoy the property of existing, because the existence is non-dual. So then, following these teachings, the best language within this context of language, the best language to correct this misunderstanding that existence is a product of object, of matter, the best way to correct is by language, which would make people believe that you and I, we are crazy, would be like that. Existence is housing now. Existence is, flattening, as Dave is flat. You understand? And then we look at the tree and we say existence is treeing now. So the tree should be the property of existence in appear as a tree, appear as an apartment, appear as Dave. You understand? So we would have to go back and correct if we really want to be extreme about holding on to the language of knowledge and identity. We would have to define existence not as a byproduct of the object, but we would have to define existence as the essential nature of every object. And the objects, they appear to exist within